KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
What comes next? That's what people are asking about the situation at the U.S.-Mexico border now that the federal government is preparing to end a policy that turned away migrants over the last 2 years on the basis of preventing the spread of COVID.
Our Stephanie Jimenez live along the border wall in the Rio Grande Valley with more. Stephanie, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says the U.S. has a plan to deal with the end of Title 42. Does he think they're prepared for what could be a massive surge of people?
So, Steve, the answer to that is a bit mixed, and I'll tell you why. Yes, in fact, Homeland Security does have a plan to deal with an influx of migrants should Title 42 end next week. However, it's impossible to predict exactly what is going to happen should Title 42 end. So right now what they're doing is making preparations to make sure that Customs and Border Protection agents are able to deal with more migrants trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border. So that's exactly why the secretary is here in the Rio Grande Valley right now. He's been meeting with Customs and Border Protection agents. And now when he spoke with those agents, they asked flat out for two things: manpower and equipment to deal with that possible surge. Should Title 42 end, immigration officials say that they're going to vaccinate the migrants who are in custody, add 600 additional CBP agents to the border, and also increase the capacity of federal holding centers from 12,000 people to 18,000. Now, if you do notice one thing, it's that I've been saying the word if Title 42 ends. And that's because there's a court battle. A federal judge may tell the Biden administration that they can't end Title 42 next week. Now, we asked Secretary Mayorkas what's going to happen if that happens. And here's what he said. Listen.
It is our responsibility to abide by a court order, and the options that will be available to us will be determined by the Department of Justice, the legal representative. That is a legal analysis. And of course, it may depend on what particularly is the reasoning of the court underlying the decision that the court makes.
Now back out live here. So basically what that means is that we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, there's a very powerful debate on both sides of this issue. We know that civil rights advocates have been saying that Title 42 should be lifted. Our Alicia Barrera is live in Hidalgo with that part of the story. And Alicia, what these advocates are saying is that this really comes down to fairness for them, right?
Exactly. So we spoke to two organizations, the Texas Civil Rights Project, which is based here in Texas, and then we also spoke to an organization that focuses more on a national level. They're the Southern Poverty Law Center. And these organizations, when it comes to Title 42, they say they don't want an open borders policy. What they're asking for is that these asylum seekers actually have a chance to present their case in front of a federal judge. Even with Title 42 still in effect, undocumented immigrants continue to enter the U.S. However, advocates say they're stripped of one basic right: applying for asylum.
It doesn't mean they get to stay. It just means give them a chance to apply. And if they qualify, they get to stay. If they don't qualify, they may be deported. And Title 42 gets rid of all of that.
Efren Olivares is the Immigrant Justice Deputy Legal Director for Southern Poverty Law Center.
We seek justice for immigrants, constitutional rights, human rights, the rights enshrined in our statutes and our laws, just so they be respected.
While those in favor of the policy say there is no room or resources for more undocumented immigrants in the U.S., Laura Peña with the Texas Civil Rights Project points to the treatment of Ukrainian refugees.
And so not only should the Ukrainians be treated that way, but we need to create the new normal for the border and make sure that Black, Indigenous, and Brown migrants also have access to those fair opportunities.
An opportunity, she says, for migrants waiting in Mexican sister cities like Reynosa and Matamoros to get out of harm's way.
We know these border towns are also very dangerous.
So what about the security plans come Monday for these homeowners, business owners, again, along the Rio Grande Valley, specifically on the border? Well, we asked them and they said that come Monday, they really don't plan on doing things much differently. They're always vigilant. So really they're leaving that in the hands of Border Patrol and other agents here along the border. Stefania, back to you.
Alicia, thank you for that. So Alicia mentioned Monday several times. That is the day that everybody is watching because that is when Title 42 is scheduled to end. However, there is a chance that that may not happen. Why? We have 24 states, including our own state of Texas, they're in a federal courtroom right now. They filed a lawsuit against the federal government to prevent the federal government from ending Title 42 when it's scheduled to end next week. As I just told you, that may not happen. The judge in this case specifically, is sitting before a federal judge in Louisiana, and that judge may decide that Title 42 is supposed to stay in place. The word is that we should hear from that judge before the end of this week. For now, we're live along the border in the Rio Grande Valley. Stefania Jimenez, KSAT 12 News.
A lot of moving parts involved, Stephanie, including thousands of people on the other side of the border that just want to give themselves up on U.S. soil. We'll see you tonight on the Night Beat at 6:30. Thank you. By the way, the ins and outs of Title 42, we've been talking about that a lot. It's actually a topic we've covered on KSAT Explains. That episode is available now online or by scanning this QR code on your screen. We're going to break down what Title 42 is, its connections to the COVID pandemic, and more.
Call them home away from home games. The San Antonio Spurs have the go-ahead now from Bexar County to play up to 4 of their home games next season away from the county-owned AT&T Center. County commissioners voted 4-1 today to amend the Spurs non-relocation agreement to allow that arrangement as a pilot program. Garrett Berger tells us why commissioners were much more comfortable today than they were when this first came up 2 weeks ago.
We're your partner. And we're going to be a good partner.
2 weeks after a reluctant 3-2 vote in support of letting the Spurs play 4 home games outside of the AT&T Center, commissioners voted 4-1 on the official wording to make it happen in the 2022 to 2023 season.
It's not set yet, but the Spurs want to play one game close by at their old home, the Alamo Dome, as part of a 50th anniversary celebration. And 2 in Austin, likely at the Moody Center. And 1, Mexico City.
Our goal is to develop and build a regional market from Mexico to Austin, Texas.
The Spurs had wanted 2 seasons with 4 home away from home games, but county commissioners would only agree to 1 as a pilot program.
We hope it's successful, and if it is, we'll make that decision and come back and have a discussion with the court.
Fan fears that this is just a prelude to an eventual relocation prompted Spurs Sports and Entertainment Chairman Peter J. Holt to publish an open letter last week promising the franchise is here to stay in San Antonio, quote, por vida.
I don't think we could have asked any more. He was unequivocal about it.
That and other talks with the Spurs helping convince one previous no vote to flip.
I am persuaded by Peter Holt's letter, as well as you, Bobby, and the representation of the Spurs.
But Commissioner Tommy Calvert, who represents the area around the AT&T Center, remained a no.
I just think that my constituents wanted me to vote that way, and that's what I do.
Though he also talked about development possibilities around the area, too. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
The trial for an ex-Bexar County jailer is now underway. Ricardo Gonzalez Jr. is accused of throwing an inmate to the ground back in 2014. Today began with opening arguments from both sides in this case, along with a few witnesses who took the stand. Gonzalez is charged with 1 count of aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury. He allegedly picked up a handcuffed inmate and slammed him on the floor for refusing to go back to his cell. That trial continues tomorrow. ERCOT says it is ready to keep the power on in the hot summer months. So far in May, we've seen record-breaking high temperatures, plus warnings from ERCOT just last weekend to conserve energy. Today, the Public Utility Commission addressed those concerns.
We'll have more reserves than before. We're going to continue operating with an abundance of caution, meaning that we'll bring more generators online sooner rather than later. We have a higher reserve margin going into this summer than we did last summer, and this grid is more reliable than it has ever been before.
So what prompted the warnings last week? Well, the PUC said that 6 power plants went offline heading into the weekend. The commission was caught off guard by that, but explained that that's why they sent out that alert, asking us all to conserve energy as a precaution.
He was the first Bexar County Sheriff's deputy to die from COVID. He was honored for it across the country. So why are county administrators now suing his 70-year-old widow to strip her of her benefits? And they even want her to repay them for her husband's cremation.
You asked him to come in, you asked him to serve, he did his job, and he paid for that with his life. And for you to come back and try and hurt his family by taking away financial benefits that the state has already approved is just horrific.
Coming up at 6:30, our own Dylan Collier investigates just how the county rationalizes this lawsuit against a widow. Plus, you're going to learn what the Bexar County Sheriff has said. It's a defender's investigation coming up in just a few minutes.
You see them on the road, but being aware of them, that can be something different entirely. A widow now sharing her husband's story to raise awareness about the importance of motorcycle safety. Still to come.
Traffic Tuesday. Let's go to Loop 410 and McCullough right now, and you can see traffic is moving smoothly in both directions. Some good news out on the roadways this evening.
KSAT 12 celebrates Military City, USA, powered by USAA.
San Antonio has been called Military City, USA, and we're showing you why we're at the heart of military training. Operating for nearly 80 years and exclusive to Joint Base San Antonio Lackland is the Inter-American Air Forces Academy, or IAFA.
Well, IAFA offers one of the most unique missions in the United States Air Force arsenal, and that is we provide instruction to our partner nations in Latin America across 32 different courses, all in Spanish.
The Inter-American Air Forces Academy has provided world-class education and training to Latin American partners, and here's why.
Well, I will say with 2 words, security cooperation. In an age where our budgets are limited and our ability to do things beyond our borders is limited, we need partners. And we need it more than ever next to our borders. So Latin America serves as a very critical strategic point where we need to make friendships, influence partnerships, and of course build such capacity that when needed we can all operate in the same events, whether it's a hurricane or any other crisis, we can help each other out.
A San Antonio dog owner demanding answers after a vicious attack. What she says happened to her pet and how the city is working to prevent dangerous and aggressive dogs on the street. And striking up a conversation with the community they serve. The greater goal for San Antonio police behind this friendly bowling competition. We'll tell you about it tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
This month is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, and a San Antonio mother and wife who just lost her husband in a crash is now sharing his story.
Anthony Galvan died in a motorcycle crash last week. His wife sat down with our RJ Marquez to share more about her husband's passion for riding and the support their families received since the crash.
My whole world came crashing down. I didn't know what to do, how to react.
Criselda Galvan said she knew her and her son's life would never be the same after her husband, Anthony Galvan, died in a motorcycle crash.
I can't even put into words. It's something that I wish on no one.
Galvan was 32 years old and started riding more than 10 years ago.
It became a passion. He became, he fell in love with it.
He was riding his motorcycle on the far west side last Wednesday when he crashed into a car making a turn.
1/3 of motorcycle fatalities happen at intersections.
Laura Lopez with TxDOT says they saw a 7% increase in deadly motorcycle crashes in 2021 compared to 2020. TxDOT wants to get the word out about motorcycle safety this month with the Look Twice for Motorcycles campaign.
Pay extra attention when changing lanes. Pay extra attention when passing a motorcycle.
This is the helmet and the gloves that Anthony was wearing at the time of the crash. Now, his wife, Criselda, tells us that the support that they have received since the crash has been absolutely overwhelming, and that it just shows how beloved he was in the motorcycle community and his passion for riding.
It amazes me on how much people went out to support him.
This past Sunday, several motorcyclists showed up for a ride and candlelight vigil to honor their friend. Criselda and Anthony's little boy will now carry on his memory.
He was a great dad to our son. It makes me happy that he's impacted so many lives, and I hope that this can bring families closer.
RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, let's turn to the weather out there today. We set yet another record, broke a record today.
Yeah,
This is like a broken record.
It really is.
Right?
And the broken record continues into. Do kids these days even know what a broken record is?
They probably know what the saying is.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They probably. Why do you say that?
Vinyl's back, man.
That's true. It
Kind of.
is.
Yeah.
I finally found a few cassette tapes for my truck, Old Blue, by the way.
Nice.
Best of the Texas Tornadoes is what we put in.
Oh, yeah.
Guacamole, guacamole. We all sing along. It's fun. All right, anyway, I want to talk about our temperature trend going forward. We're still going to be well into the 90s despite the cool front that comes later in the forecast period. That's not going to make it here until late Saturday. So more record challenging heat tomorrow, and then we'll fall a little below the record highs thereafter. All right, let's talk about it. We hit 100 degrees today. That was a record by 2 degrees. So officially another record breaking day. That would be 4 in a row here in San Antonio. Tomorrow's likely to be 5. Looking outside right now, you see some high clouds moving overhead, 96 degrees, a dew point of 55. That's the key. The dew point has dropped a bit, so the heat index is not an issue. Actually, when you calculate it, it's 2 degrees lower than the actual air temperature. Right now, 106 Eagle Pass, 104 Cotulla and Laredo, Del Rio, 102. That's where we still have the highest temperatures. Get to Canyon Lake, 90 degrees. Converse, 93, Port SA on the west side there, 97, and Rio Medina, 96. Tomorrow morning, right near 70. More of the same for morning conditions and high humidity in the morning as well. By the afternoon, right up near 100 again. Thinking 97 Helotes and Bernie, 100 New Braunfels, Seguin 99. Officially San Antonio, probably about 99 degrees. And if we hit that at the airport, then it would be a record by 1 degree. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, still well into the 90s, but just shy of record-breaking territory. Look what happens once we get into Sunday. So that cold front hits late Saturday. Into Sunday, we're back into the mid-80s. And by the way, that's close to average for this time of year. So mid-80s Sunday all the way into the early part of next week. I talked about the dew point dropping off a bit, and it's that typical pattern, that cycle. Late at night and early morning hours, very sticky and muggy, but then by the afternoon, during the hottest part of the day, dew points fall off a bit, and that's what we're seeing right now. Dew points in the 50s, so humidity is not really playing a role or not really a factor out there. And we'll have the similar trend tomorrow. 8 a.m., sticky and humid at 68-degree dew point, but then by about 3 p.m., dew points are down in the 50s. So heat index not being a big factor tomorrow afternoon. A few showers starting to develop in parts of Mexico, and we could have a stray shower making it to Valverde County later on this evening, but only about a 20 to 30% chance of that. Otherwise, upper level high over Mexico still influencing our weather, but this next feature, this little dip in the upper level flow near Las Vegas, that's going to head our way slowly. It's going to drop southward into the northern Mexico by Thursday, and Friday it should throw some energy our way and could kickstart a few thunderstorms. Right now, we've got it at a 20% chance, so nothing really reliable or widespread. But that is subject to change. This does show signs of maybe some increasing chances as we get closer to that time period. I also want to point out, it's almost that time of year for the Saharan dust, the African dust. Right now, it's all out over the Atlantic, but trade winds are starting to carry it westward, and by Sunday and Monday, don't be surprised if you notice a little extra haze to the sky with that Saharan dust. Again, that wouldn't be till Sunday and Monday. As for tomorrow, 71 in the morning. By noon, sunny, near 90, 99 the high. At least we'll have a bit of a breeze out of the south-southeast. Steady at 10 to 20, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. There's that 20% chance for late Friday, and then daily thereafter, it's not significant, but at least some daily slight chances of showers and storms, 20%.
It's something. Thank you, Adam.
All right, we don't know who they'll draft tonight, but we're going to find out where the Spurs draft tonight.
Yeah, and they've been in the lottery now the last 3 seasons. They need to change their luck up tonight because they want that magic back. They got him the number 1 pick in 97, and prior to that, 87. So the Admiral is up tonight. We'll see how it turns out. And an all San Antonio State semifinals in softball coming up.
the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs. Congratulations.
Wow, this is the last time the Spurs won the first pick in the NBA draft lottery, 1997, when the Silver and Black beat out both Philadelphia and Boston for the top selection. It turned out to be the biggest moment in franchise history. Biggest moment because the Spurs used their #1 pick to select Tim Duncan, a 7-footer out of Wake Forest, who would go on to lead the Spurs to 5 NBA championships, 2 of those title games alongside David Robinson in 1999 and 2003, before the Admiral became a minority investor with the team and won 3 more titles as an owner. Ironically, it was 10 years before that 1997 NBA draft that the Spurs won the lottery in 1987, using that pick to scoop up Robinson. And now tonight, 35 years later, the Admiral will be the in-person representative for the Spurs, and the NBA draft lottery is held tonight in Chicago at 7 o'clock. The Spurs have now missed the playoffs for an unprecedented 3 straight seasons, and they're hoping Robinson will change their luck tonight in the lottery, where the Spurs only have a 4.5% chance to come out on top, but an over 20% chance to land the top 4, a game changer either way. The lottery will be held just before tip-off of the Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between #1 seed Miami and #2 seed Boston. This is the first year for former Spurs player and assistant coach Ime Udoka as the head coach of the Celtics. Not a bad way to start your career with a storied franchise, 1 series away from the NBA Finals, and he's taking with him former Spurs starter Derek White, who was traded to the Celtics at the trade deadline. That's after the Celtics swept the Nets out of the postseason and had to go the distance with the defending NBA champs. But Udoka points out it's the way they finished the regular season that set them up for success in the postseason.
Enough proof is our record, second half of the season, probably having the best overall record, best offense, best defense. And so those things aren't a fluke in a 45-game span. And so we wanted to carry that over into the playoffs. A sweep against Brooklyn and a hard-fought 7-game series will only benefit us with our belief in ourselves.
And we're being told that both Marcus Smart and Al Horford will miss tonight's game. Smart with a right foot sprain, Horford health and safety protocols. Big matchup at the Tap State softball semifinals at UT Arlington tomorrow. That's where the University of the Incarnate Word High School Shamrocks will face the Antonian Apaches. We begin with the Shamrocks, who started their season off by losing 5 in a row in tournament play, including a 13-0 shutout by Antonian. But the Shamrocks rebounded nicely to beat the Apaches on April the 5th, 8-5, only to close out the regular season with a 3-1 loss, but still took district. This will be their 4th meeting of the season with much higher stakes.
We've been in the playoffs every year, but the outcome's not always the same, and this is the furthest we've made it in the past 2 years. The only other time we've been to the Final Four is my freshman year, so this is pretty special.
It's honestly really awesome because it's just cool to make it to the playoffs. I mean, you can say you made it round 1 and then you make it round 2. It's really cool to make it past round 1 and 2 and get to Final Four and things like that.
All right, there's no question these two teams have a history going into the Final Four of high school softball in just this season alone. That left the Apaches finishing 2nd in district of the Shamrocks. But remember, for Antonian, they were at the state softball tournament last year.
This is a very special season in particular because we have 7 seniors this year, so 7 girls I grew up with, and we've looked forward to this moment. Year 2 going back to state, so I'm really excited to see how it goes.
We've played them a couple times this year, obviously, in district. It's always a good game. It's always fun. The parents get all into it. We get all out, and it's a lot of fun.
All right, the fun begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. Good luck to all the teams competing this weekend, also in baseball as well. I think Holy Cross also has a team up in state.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
You got it.
All right, let's head back out to the border. We find our Stefania Jimenez there to tell us what we can expect in our next half hour. Stefania.
Well, what now? That is the question as the Biden administration prepares to end a COVID-era policy that kept hundreds of thousands of migrants from entering the U.S. I'm Stefania Jimenez, live in the Rio Grande Valley, and we'll have more on that coming up.
He was the very first Bexar County Sheriff's deputy to die of COVID-19. Timothy De La Fuente's passing in April of 2020, a jolting illustration of how first responders continued to serve the community even as it was overrun by a deadly contagious disease.
De La Fuente's life has repeatedly been honored publicly, but privately, the county has been in a years-long court battle to strip his widow of death benefits.
The fact that the county continues to deny this claim is to me, it's shameless, it's disgusting, it's like my husband didn't exist.
The defender's Dylan Collier examines the potential precedent-setting court case and the stain it's now added to a deputy's memory.
It started on a Monday with a dry cough while working at the Bexar County Jail Annex. But by Thursday, Deputy Timothy De La Fuente had full-blown COVID-19 and was too weak to walk out of his far north side home. Outside, as paramedics struggled to put on their hazmat suits before going in, inside, his widow Pauline remembers.
And when I took his glasses off and I was looking at him, and I looked in his eyes and my husband was gone. He wasn't breathing. There was nothing behind those eyes.
The April 2020 death of the 27-year BCSO veteran struck a somber chord. A COVID-19 test taken days before Deputy De La Fuente's passing confirmed he was positive for the virus, and the sheriff's office quickly labeled it an on-duty death. The stretchy cloth mask found by Pauline in the pocket of his uniform, no match for a disease that had surged through the building where he worked. The loss of Deputy De La Fuente left a massive void in Pauline's life. The couple had lived with one another, carrying themselves as husband and wife for 14 years.
Figure out how to, get my lawn cut, take the trash out, bills. My husband took care of all of that.
At a 100 Club of San Antonio luncheon this month to honor the fallen, including Deputy De La Fuente, it was revealed that 10 of the 15 area first responders who died in the line of duty in recent years did so from COVID-related complications. The lunch, the latest recognition for Deputy De La Fuente, as his widow has crisscrossed the country to accept medals and declarations honoring his legacy.
But Pauline's story is not that of a widow who's been taken care of by the county where her husband proudly served. Far from it. Court records show Bexar County is trying to take away Deputy De La Fuente's death benefits and, believe it or not, force his widow to pay back the cost of cremating him.
It's been a long, hard road for Pauline. In July 2020, the county denied her initial claim for benefits, so her case then went before an administrative judge twice in 2021. The county's argument that Deputy De La Fuente did not contract COVID during the scope of his employment for BCSO, that Pauline was not Deputy De La Fuente's legal spouse at the time of his death, and that she failed to request in writing that her denied benefits claim be reprocessed. Once the state declared that first responders were likely to have contracted COVID while working. After the administrative judge overseeing the case sided with Pauline both times, the county appealed both times. And in late January, filed suit against Pauline in state district court, seeking to end the weekly death benefits she receives, which total less than $4,000 a month, and make her pay back the $1,900 it costs to cremate her husband.
If he had been shot in the line of duty, there would be no question about this.
Lieutenant Jeremy Payne, outgoing president of the Deputy Sheriff's Association of Bexar County, said the ongoing legal fight could have a ripple effect for first responder families across Texas.
You asked him to come in, you asked him to serve, he did his job, and he paid for that with his life. And for you to come back and try and hurt his family by taking away financial benefits that the state has already approved is just horrific.
County officials declined our interview requests, citing the pending litigation. Although Sheriff Javier Salazar has not commented publicly on it, in a May 9th email to the county's workers' compensation claims specialist, he called the filing against a grieving law enforcement widow reprehensible. Quote, I can tell you I strongly disagree with denial of benefits, and I find it insulting to Timothy's memory if his wife is indeed being sued for pursuing something countless other law enforcement families are rightfully being afforded, all while she is clearly still dealing with the loss of her spouse. For Pauline, a loss in court would mean a return to the workforce at the age of 70.
My husband gave almost 28 years to the citizens of Bexar County. He worked there more than half his life. His loyalty and dedication was unwavering.
For the defenders, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Attorneys for Pauline have asked for a jury trial in this case. She said she continues to receive Deputy De La Fuente's death benefits while the sides await trial. But they were temporarily halted while the case was under appeal last year. Now, a spokesperson for Bexar County released a statement on the case saying in part, quote, While we disagree with the general characterization of this matter, we are working to ensure that Bexar County funded benefits are paid out appropriately and in accordance with relevant law. End quote. We'll be right back. We have been focusing on the Rio Grande Valley today and the border as Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas visited that region. This comes as the Biden administration prepares to end a COVID policy that turned thousands of migrants away at the border.
Our Stephanie Jimenez is live along the border wall in the Rio Grande Valley today as we're learning more about the plan here, Steph.
So, Myra and Steve, yeah, that plan involves administering more COVID vaccines along the border. Now, you just mentioned the secretary's visit here along the border, and that's important because specifically the Rio Grande Valley is the busiest part along the U.S.-Mexico border. So it is safe to assume that if Title 42 were to end next week, this would be the area that's the most affected. Now, the secretary spent much of his day touring different parts of the border along with Customs and Border Protection agents. And the one thing that they flat out said they need is more manpower. They also said they need more equipment to deal with a possible increase of migrants coming through. Now, the Homeland Security says as many as 6,000 people try to come through every day and that number may actually double if Title 42 ends. But when we ask the secretary specifics, meaning how many migrants the immigration officials are prepared to process should Title 42 end next week, he couldn't give any. Listen to what he said.
We are addressing a level of migration that is historic, and they are doing an extraordinary job in managing the current flow. As the plans that we published a few weeks ago evidence, what we have done is not necessarily predict the flow that we might encounter, but rather we have planned for different scenarios that could in fact materialize.
So right now, the Department of Homeland Security says it's planning to do a few things. One of those, as I mentioned before, is to vaccinate the migrants as they come across the border in order to prevent the spread of COVID. And that's because now vaccines are readily available. The other thing that they would do is add 600 Customs and Border Protection agents along the border to deal with that potential influx of migrants. Now, we do want to make one thing clear, and that is that Title 42 may not end that week and that next week. And that is because right now there is a federal law. There's a lawsuit underway where 24 states, including Texas, are suing the federal government now to keep Title 42 in place. And that policy is set to end next Monday, but we may hear from the federal judge in the case that I just told you about who may decide to keep it, and we may hear from him later on this week. We're live along the Rio Grande Valley. Stephania Jimenez, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Stephania. The nonprofit Soldiers Angels having its annual Go Camo Care Package collection drive. It's happening right now. The items in highest demand this year, hygiene products, things like travel size razors, shampoo and toothbrushes. But they're also looking for snacks, puzzles and things that remind our service members of home. Organizers say being a part of this means more than just giving back.
The first care package I ever received was my first deployment to Afghanistan almost 20 years ago. Just being on this end, being able to supply it for them, being able to support them this way, there's nothing else I'd rather do.
Ways you can help include setting up a collection drive, purchasing items and sending it to the nonprofit, or monetary donations. For more information on this program, head to our website, ksat.com.
Soldiers say there's nothing like care packages from home. Right now, let's take a live cam outside. Look at the temperature. Cooling off rapidly. 6 degrees in the last hour. I'm trying to make the best of this, Adam.
And we're still 7 degrees above the average afternoon high, which we usually hit about 2-3 hours ago. Anyway, let's talk about what's happening this evening. Right now, we're at 96 officially at the airport, falling to near 90 at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 82 degrees. And tomorrow, right near 70. More record-challenging heat before our next cool front arrives. I'm going to time that out for you and even talk about the storm chances with it coming up.
All All right, we were calling it Traffic Tuesday. We could call it Thermometer Tuesday because the thermometer's getting a workout.
Oh, Steve, come on now. That's reserved for
Just saying we
Thursday.
could. I'm not saying we will. I'm just saying we could.
I respectfully disagree.
Oh, okay. No thermometer day.
I just thought maybe I'd touch a nerve there. Apparently I did.
If we added another, I guess I wouldn't be opposed to.
That'd be a lot of thermometers for you to make, so you probably would be.
Yeah, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
No, I have a hard time as it is.
Yeah.
Let's move on with the forecast and not even try to get into that. All right, here are our headlines. More record-challenging heat tomorrow. Then a weekend cold front or weak little cool front's going to hit us. That's going to drop temperatures a bit, and then a few storm chances around then as well. Let's get right to it as a look at our official data today and a big old wasp on our camera. It's that time of year you see them swarming around there periodically. 100, triple digits officially at the airport. The average high is 87, the record 97 today. So we broke it by 3 degrees, it looks like. And then earlier this morning, we started the day at 71. You look at the departure from average, basically all across the nation, we're above average. Across Texas, we're anywhere from about, 1 degree above average in Brownsville, but most of the state about 10 to 15 degrees above average. And you look at the high temperatures today, Lubbock, Midland, Abilene, Junction, Del Rio, Laredo, San Antonio, all at or above 100 degrees. 101 the high in Uvalde. Cotulla made it up to 106. 102 the high temperature in Pleasanton. Current readings a little bit lower than our afternoon highs. 104 Cotulla now. Right? Still hot. 98 in Hondo. Kerrville 95 degrees. Gonzales, you're at 90. And even still 102 on the south side at Stinson Airport, along with Devine. 102. Tomorrow morning will be right near 70 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon up to 99, so right around 100 again. That would be a record by 1 degree. And then still well into the 90s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but that's shy of the record. The record's at or above 100 Thursday and Friday. And then that weak cold front hits late Saturday. By Sunday and on into early next week, we're talking high temperatures back down into the mid-80s. And keep in mind, the average high is 87. We could actually be a little below that on Sunday. Sunday could be the first day of this month where the average temperature throughout the day even is below average or below normal. Something to watch. If May ended right now, it would be the hottest May on record. Dew points are down into the 50s. This is the trend we've been seeing. We often see it where during the hottest part of the day, humidity falls off, so the heat index isn't a factor. That's the case out there today. And it's going to be again tomorrow. You look at the dew point trend, muggy in the morning, even later tonight by 10, 11 o'clock, thicker humidity. First thing in the morning, sticky 68 degree dew point at 8 a.m., and then we're down into the 50s for dew points by the afternoon. Not a whole lot of activity on the radar screen across the state. We could have a weak shower move from Mexico into Valverde County. Not a big deal. Otherwise, upper level high influencing our weather. And the next little disturbance is near Las Vegas. That's likely to drop southward into northern Mexico and then move our way by Friday. Not a very potent system, but could have just enough kick to get a few thunderstorms going later in the day on Friday. And if we do see anything develop, there would, I think, be the chance of some strong to severe weather. So something to keep in mind. But right now, coverage looks pretty slim. 71 in the morning tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 99 the high. At least we have a bit of a breeze. South-southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 25. And then daily small storm chances starting Friday, going through the weekend, and even into the early part of next week. The lowest temperature in our forecast near 60 on Sunday morning.
Not too bad.
61. In case you missed it, coming up next.
It is Tuesday, the 17th of May.
Late breaking news this noon. The Spurs are now clear to play away from home games 4 times next season, but it's just a pilot program being allowed by county commissioners.
Spurs Sports Entertainment has indicated it wants to play one of the games in Mexico City, 2 in Austin, and 1 in the Alamo Dome. That's its former home court. The Spurs organization has painted it as a way to grow its regional fan base and brand. The team has a non-relocation agreement that prohibits it from playing more than 2 games in a season outside of the county-owned AT&T Center, so it needed commissioners' approval, which it got in a 4-1 vote this morning.
The state's main power grid operator says it will have enough electricity to meet demand this summer. ERCOT's seasonal report calls for a peak demand of 77,317 megawatts. That would be a new record. ERCOT says it will have 91,000 megawatts of resource capacity available during summer peak demand hours, which is typically between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Authorities in Southern California say the shooting at a church Sunday was a politically motivated attack. 68-year-old David Chow is accused of fatally shooting 1 man and injuring 5 others at the Irvine Taiwanese Presbyterian Church. Investigators are trying to determine why he chose the church.
Memorial Day coming up. That means more drivers will likely be out on the roads. It's also why TxDOT is launching its annual Click It or Ticket campaign. Last year, TxDOT says more than 3,500 crashes were reported in which people were not buckled up. So from May 23rd, that's next Monday, to June 5th, fines are being raised to $200 if you're not wearing your seatbelt. That is all our time. Thanks for watching the news at 6.
See you on the Night Beat at 10.